Steven! Are you going to bark all day, little doggy? Or are you going to bite?
What?
You heard me. You going to
I
bark
heard
all
you.
day, little doggy? Or are you going to bite?
Why are you saying that?
You ever seen Reservoir Dogs?
Yes. It's been a while, but yes.
It's an ode to Mr. Blonde.
Ah, yeah, of course. Mm-hmm.
Rest in peace to Michael Madsen. Sorry, go ahead.
Should have got that from the start. That's my bad.
No. It's all good. That's not really obscure line from the movie, but I'd say probably my favorite.
I didn't remember that one at all.
Okay, fair enough. We'll get to him a little later. Yeah, Michael Madsen, who was in a lot of Tarantino movies, passed away, I believe, the day before 4th of July, July 3rd. So we'll get into that, but as we do pop culture catch up later on. But Steven, how was your 4th of July?
That was terrific, Derek. How was yours?
Good. Went to my little brother's in Danville. Hung out with the family. We barbecued, I guess, per se, even though the grill was down. Can you call it barbecuing if you don't have the grill going?
No.
Okay, we didn't barbecue, but we had barbecue foods. Yeah, I came over, got myself a steak and some beer and hot dogs, burgers, but come to find out that the grill was not working, so we had to do stovetop for everything, which was fine. But had a good time. I think that summertime in the East Bay, there's nothing more beautiful. And I grew up going to like the Danville Parade and seeing like fireworks in San Ramon. But do you ever get too old for fireworks, Steven? Like at some point in your life, you're like, I've seen them. I don't need to see anymore.
Well, I think it depends on which stage of life you're in. I mean, if you're just on your own, and you're kind of just adulting around and you're single without like any kids or anything, then yeah, you probably are not going to go watch the fireworks willingly. But if you have kids and stuff, I think it's more for them at some point in your life. I don't know when that point is, but like when do you become too old for fireworks is the appropriate question, maybe.
I'm not too old for fireworks. Like I still go ooh when I see fireworks. Like
yeah.
Oakland sounds like a war zone when it's 4th of July. Like
it's
that's why I stayed over at my brother's place. Not because I don't I don't mind the fireworks, but like it's quite loud where I live, and I could see them. Like I have a beautiful view of like the city, and I could see fireworks into the night. But also, I remember a year ago while I was watching like Independence Day for the first time.
Yeah.
Right outside my window, like really close to my window, a firework just went off, and I was like, "Oh shit, that's way too close."
Welcome to Earth.
Yeah, welcome to Earth. And so that was when I was like, "Damn!" And it goes on to like 1:00 in the morning. Even last night, people were still shooting off fireworks. Kind of dead around the city, even though like it's the weekend and you think people would be out and about. People are in Tahoe, so not a lot going on in the East Bay. But at the same time, it's just beautiful out. So I say this because me and my little brother were hanging out, drinking, and we're like, "Oh, we should go see fireworks." We're like, "Nah, we're too drunk to drive. Let's not do that." So we missed them. But I was like, that's such like a classic suburban thing to like especially if you grew up in Danville, the San Ramon area, you would go to like Concord or wherever to watch the fireworks. So I don't know. I feel like I missed out a little bit, but at the same time, I've seen them.
Where were you this year? Where exactly?
Well, Danville. I was at my brother's place, and we were just chilling. We watched Back to the Future. I don't know if you know, it's the 40th anniversary of the movie. Came out July 4th weekend of 1985. It's funny to show movies to my brother had never seen it before, so showing that movie to him and his girlfriend, and of course everything from the fact that he was going to date his mom, kiss his mom, potentially sexually assault his mom to make sure that Biff, or not Biff, but who was it? I forget the whole scenario. But the plan was that
Crispin Glover.
What's up?
Crispin Glover.
Crispin Glover.
Yeah, that's the name of his future dad.
That's the actor's name?
Yeah.
Okay, well, yeah, the plot was that he was going to come in and be like, get your damn hands off her. And that scene doesn't age well. Like, it's just funny watching movies from a different time period with younger kids. It's like, oh my God, how did this get made? It's like, it was a different time. I don't know how to explain it. But yeah, it was fun. Had a good full July 4th weekend with some drinks, some meats, no fireworks, but of course, the return of Joey Chestnut.
Yeah. We went to the Port of Oakland.
Let me cut you off. Ernie makes a good point here. She was trying to sexually assault him. Yeah, a little bit. His mom was trying to get with Marty.
Yeah, it happened. Calvin Klein. We went to the Port of Oakland.
Oh, nice.
To try and see the ones in San Francisco, and you kind of had an okay view, but it was pretty cool. Like looking across the way and seeing, I think like Daly City, South City, San Bruno. You're just seeing fireworks go off all the way down the peninsula. So you had a pretty cool spot there, I guess, but it was freezing. Like the wind off the bay was chilling. Then
yeah, kind of chilly in the East Bay when usually this time of year it's like in the 80s or the 90s.
Yeah, it's crazy. So Jessie was just bundled up to the gills, man. She only had like her eyes showing, you know. She was just I don't know if she was having the best time, but I kind of suggested it because I didn't know what else we were gonna do last
Looking
night.
like Kenny from South Park.
Yeah, exactly. Then you see the morning after though, and you see all the destruction that it caused.
Yeah.
Like I was just watching the local news this morning, and it's like you got people in Antioch who were going insane, and you got like a sideshow going on in a court when they're doing donuts, lighting fireworks in the middle of it, when there's a literal fire in the like right next to them, like a big ass brush fire too.
Like, I want to say there was a big one the day of 4th of July in 5th Street, right?
Yeah, huge. That was a different thing. That was like a warehouse full of weed that blew up.
Oh,
yeah. You're talking about the warehouse fire, right?
I saw it on the news. I was driving over to my little brother's, and then I didn't see any smoke along the way, but I got to his place. The news was on. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah. I think they're still investigating like what caused it, but I think it had a bunch of weed in it, which is
no people, right?
What's that?
No people, right? Just weed?
I think so. I'm not sure though. And you know, you
I won't
saw
say
that
any jokes then.
You saw that thing yeah, exactly. You saw that one in Yolo County too, where the fireworks warehouse, I guess, that exploded and all the fireworks were going off, and then you immediately want to go to Naked Gun, but then you learn that people died in that situation. So it's like, okay, can't make jokes about that.
Wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, dude, it's just fireworks are great, but then you see the aftermath of it and how stupid a lot of people can be when it comes to lighting off illegal ones. You never know what can happen. So I don't know. I like watching them, but then you see what happens and you're thinking, if it's not in a designated area, why the hell should I? Dude, one time we went to, me and some friends, we just drove around and went to Alviso, which is where like Top Golf is. It's near Santa Clara. It's like this little tiny town next to in the South Bay area. And that was insane. That was as crazy of a fireworks show I've ever seen, in that it was in the middle of some neighborhood in Alviso, and we just parked our car and got out and just sat there and watched. So it's like, oh my gosh. Yeah. Anyway, it's just, it could get a little reckless, man. And as I get older, you see what happens, especially with the dryness of where we're at now at this time of year. It's not good. You don't want to see another like LA or Paradise fire where things can legitimately get caused like that.
No, absolutely not. But, you know, fireworks are fun as long as it's done safely. And I think that anybody just, you know, look, 10 years ago when Jason Pierre... Sorry, go ahead.
That's such a, like, I mean, yeah, of course, as long as it's done safely, but it's rarely done safely.
I know, but you can't take the fun away of 4th of July. At the same time, yeah, you don't want to see fires or any crazy shit. All you got to look to is Jason Pierre-Paul for your kind of like, you know, warning 10 years ago where he blew his fingers off and still had a good NFL career. But yeah, he would tell you don't fuck around with fireworks. Just be smart about it. Have you ever lit off fireworks when you were a kid?
Not big ones.
I remember as a kid, 4th of July, we were in LA with my stepmom's family, and her mother actually obtained fireworks and was lighting them in the backyard. And I was like, Jesus Christ. And that was fun. But yeah, like today, I mean, you can't buy them here, and people have them illegally. But yeah, you can just be safe.
Yep. Derek, I got a question.
Oh, usually I ask the questions, but go ahead.
Well, I mean, I got a couple. Like, how much would you pay to have plastic surgery to get 6-pack abs? That's one. That's a trend that's going around right now. Shout out to Drake and Big Sean.
So wait, yeah, what's the deal with that? Because I saw a little bit on social media. I guess Drake was he calling out LeBron, or I may be totally wrong on this thing,
I
but
don't
he has
know.
fake abs.
Yeah, he took a photo in front of like all his liquor, like his liquor storage facility or whatever. And not a facility, it was just a cabinet. And it was all very, very expensive looking. But then you see in the picture, it's shirtless. And it looks like he's had work on the 6-pack abs done. And I'm just saying, if I was filthy rich, I'd probably do that too. I'm that insecure.
Would I ever pay to get 6-pack abs?
Yeah.
No. If I was filthy rich, I could just spend my whole time working out and then get 6-pack abs.
Yeah, but at some point, it's not going to work, you know? Like, you got to get the surgery.
What do you mean it's not going to work, huh?
At some point, your body is going to age to where the 6-pack abs aren't going to want to get to show themselves anymore.
No, man. I'm going to be like Jack Mullane. Is that his name? Wasn't like an old, like 60-year-old man or 80-year-old man? Or Tommy Toon. Like these old guys that were built later on in life.
Yeah.
Plus, not to brag,
I don't know.
I think I'm rocking a 2-pack right now.
Oh,
just a 2-pack.
Just a 2.
Just a nice little 2-pack.
We talking at the top, like in the middle, on the bottom row, like
just
what are we
right
talking?
At the top. You want me to show you?
Don't show it. Don't show it. Don't show it.
Because it's not going to translate very well through the computer screen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, please don't. I don't know why I asked that. Dude, if I was rich, I'd be looking like Liver King, except without like the Joe Rogan threats where he gets arrested. I'd be looking like that, dude. I'd be jacked to the gills, man.
Yeah, but you have to take a shit ton of steroids because that guy's not authentic.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'd do.
And also, his whole story, like, this is one of the few things that I side with Rogan on. That guy's full of shit. Like, him just eating raw meat all the time, you're going to die.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, he's as fake as who was that one guy that was living like a luxurious lifestyle, the billionaire rip dude? What's his name? Dan Bilzerian?
Yeah, Dan Bilzerian.
All these fake ass people on social media. Yeah, Liver King's one of them.
Mm-hmm. He got arrested though. I don't know if you saw that recently.
I did not. For what?
Yeah, he got arrested for threatening Rogan because of what Rogan said. Yeah, it was. I forgot what the official charge was.
That's ridiculous.
Actually, you know what? Okay, we're gonna. You know what? We're on a podcast right now. We'll search this thing up.
Can I just say one thing real quick?
Uh-huh.
I know that I don't bash Rogan. I to be clearly honest, I come across his interviews sometimes. I won't watch the whole thing because they're ridiculously long. But if he has like a celebrity on or a comedian like Shane Gillis, I'll watch a little bit like YouTube clips. I will say I do like his insight on like meat, like steak and shit, like how he cooks it. But besides everything else, like I don't need his conspiracy theories and everything like that.
Don't get it twisted. Like at one point he came off as a very he was a guy's guy, but he was also very like, I don't know,
down to earth,
respectable.
Okay.
And yes, down to earth. But I also think like just that big podcast deal kind of got to his head, and he started like listening to a lot of random people that he'd bring on and kind of got sunk into it. He definitely changed, that's for sure. But I don't know. Well, I don't look at Rogan as like a total, like people are, disparaging like who he is as a person.
Yeah.
I don't think he's like a bad guy at all. I just think he has really terrible political opinions at times.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that I don't like listening to him when he gets too in depth on political stuff. I will say though, I've seen recent posts where he kind of goes back to like not anti-Trump stuff, but just like he doesn't agree with what's going on with ICE right now. Like, a lot of people that were with Trump are now like, I don't agree with a lot of shit that's going on right now.
Oh, what do you know? These guys went on the podcast to fool everybody that listens to, because they have an incredible reach, and then just do their own thing to follow their own agenda. What do you know? That's crazy. But this thing with the Liver King though, he was arrested in Texas for calling him out. A social media influencer was arrested after he posted threatening messages directed at Joe Rogan. Austin's police said in a statement that they arrested Brian Johnson. That's his name. How about that?
Not the Giant that had the home run and walk off against the Dodgers in 1997.
Not that Giant, not the lead singer for AC/DC, the second lead singer for AC/DC. After they learned that he was traveling to Austin after threatening Rogan in a series of videos he posted on Instagram. Joe Rogan, I'm calling you out man to man. I'm picking a fight with you. I have no training in jiu-jitsu. You're a black belt. You should dismantle me, but I'm picking a fight with you. Your rules. I'll come to you whenever you're ready. Joe Rogan would absolutely win in that fight. But also another thing that I've learned from listening to his podcast is he does not think violence is the answer to solve all your problems. So I'm not surprised that he went about it the way that he did. That was going to be my first question, though, about the six-pack abs. But my second question, Derek.
Hold on. I have a quick question. Is that all he said?
I mean, he made other messages, too. It was like multiple. That was just one of them.
Doesn't Jose Canseco go crazy with Alex Rodriguez all the time?
Yeah. Yeah. Happy July 4th to everybody except that one guy.
Yeah. I mean, they have their beef. Okay. Whatever. I mean, I think the Liver King's full of shit. Does he need to get arrested over that? Yeah. Anyway.
The other thing. So one of my favorite memes, GIFs, whatever you want to call it, is from Peep Show. It's this British show, right?
I'm familiar with it, yeah.
And David Mitchell, one of the co-stars in it, they're clearly doing a skit. I don't know which skit this is, but they're clearly doing a skit where they are Nazis and they are part of, of the Third Reich. And they are bumbling idiots. And there's one little GIF where David Mitchell looks at the other guy and goes, "Are we the baddies?" Right? Just are we the bad ones? And I couldn't help but think, Derek, about that meme after our last podcast. I listened back and I started making clips and stuff. And our little diatribe, I guess you could call it, on people walking on treadmills at the gym. I mean, it was a little. I couldn't help but think, are we the jackasses? Because we're calling people out for getting exercise, but they might not have a means to, walk wherever they want to. Maybe the treadmill has to be their outlet.
Yeah, that's a good point. I also think about older people that can't really run on treadmills or run in general. So maybe walking on a treadmill is the healthiest way.
Yeah, I just couldn't help but think about that because I posted that. I posted it and I listened to it and I thought it was funny. But then my buddy texted me immediately, Danny Cardenas, aka Cilantro on 95.7 The Game, if anyone heard that caller. He texted me, he goes, "Bro, incline. We can't all just go to walk on a mountain and we're 5 minutes away from a hill where we could go up incline and do a bunch of that. I go on the treadmill all the time, man."
Yes, you can. Get out there and find some places to roam, people. Later this afternoon, I'm gonna go with my little brother. We're gonna go to the Oakland Hills and go on a hike. You could do that, you lazy asses. No, I agree with your buddy. Not everybody has the means to do that. Yeah.
I was like, are we the baddies? Are we in the wrong for that? Probably for calling people out, just trying to get exercise every day, whichever way they can.
Yeah, I mean, however you do it. I still stand on the fact, I wouldn't go on the treadmill every day because I think you could pull something easily. But yeah, if you use the treadmill for just walking and that's your means of exercise, then by all means. I'm not going to yuck your yum, as we say on Dirty Work.
I was quite embarrassed by my performance in that podcast because I literally called people out when I haven't been to the gym in ages.
Yeah.
Calling people out that go to the gym when you haven't been to the gym. It's a moment of self-reflection, Derek, and hand up, I was wrong. That's my fault.
Well, at least I go to the gym, so I feel partially upset.
You're fine. Ernie's right here. Did Derek just start up with a relationship with his brother? I don't ever remember so much Nicholas Papa talk until this year. Yeah, you guys are hanging out a bunch now.
Well, I came back home and we hang out. His girlfriend actually lives in Oakland, so we see each other quite a bit. Yeah, no, we won't see each other that much because I think after today he's boning hard for the bar, the law bar. He's trying to be a lawyer. And he dedicates, I think, 6 to 7 hours a day studying for that thing. So you won't see it too much, Doc.
Studying.
Yeah, boning.
Is that what that is?
That's what I refer to studying as, boning.
Is that your version of studying whenever you went to college?
You got to bone up. Like me, like, when I got to study up on Giants baseball, I'm boning on baseball. Or boning up, I should say.
Boning up on baseball. You're not boning baseball.
I guess you're true. Okay. Then, he's boning up on law.
There you go. All right. Now we cleared a few things up.
Yeah, he's boning. Anyway, just your opinion, man. Stephen Langford, Derek Papa, coming to you on this July 4th weekend. And let's just start with the biggest thing in sports this weekend. He returned. He was back to claim what was rightfully his for, almost 20 years now. I think 18 years of Joey Chestnut's dominance. And no shade thrown at Patrick Bertoletti. I know that Matt Mayoko a year ago, I didn't want to be this cruel. I thought about tweeting something like this, but Matt Mayoko did, being like, Pat Bertoletti, this is like the Houston Rockets winning 2 championships back-to-back with no Michael Jordan. It's not his fault that Joey Chestnut wasn't there. He ate 58 hot dogs a year ago. But this year, he just didn't even try. Like, not that he didn't try, but like he knew he was up Schitt's Creek when it came to battling Joey Chestnut. He had 46.5. James Webb from Australia had 45.5. But of course, the one and only, the greatest eater of all time, Joey Chestnut, eats 70.5 hot dogs in 10 minutes. I thought he was going to go over 76.5, judging on last year's Unfinished Beef battle on Netflix, when Joey Chestnut was not allowed to compete because of his sponsorship with a plant-based hot dog company. So he didn't compete. And then Netflix managed to get him and Kobayashi out of retirement, and they battled to the beef, where Joey Chestnut ate 83 hot dogs to Kobayashi 66. And I think even before the contest, Joey Chestnut was asked, can you eat 80 hot dogs a day? And he was like, I don't know about that. Today's, conditions got to be perfect for that. And I'm like, why? But he would know better than me. He's a competitive eater. And once I saw that, I knew he's probably not going to go for a record amount. And he's getting up there in age, but he still dominates. So, yeah, props to Joey Chestnut once again for being the American hero that he is. And me and Steven both had a bet who would on the over-under, 76.5. I said over. Steven said under. So now I'm going to eat some hot sauce. Steven, your thoughts on Joey Chestnut?
Well, we got to take a look at the brand of hot dog that he managed to suck down in Unfinished Beef. They were using Ballpark Franks in that one, and
I would say that's harder than Nathan's.
Those are easier than Nathan's.
Why do you say that?
Because they're smaller.
Ballpark Franks?
Yeah, those.
You're talking about length, not girth, huh?
I'm talking about length. Yeah, girth doesn't matter. Well, I mean, girth does matter a little bit, but you had to look at the brand of.
We should
hot
ask
dog,
somebody else
Derek.
besides ourselves on that topic.
We had to look at the brand of hot dog, Derek.
Yeah.
I'm just boning up on my hot dog knowledge. You had to look at the brand of hot dog, I think. And I thought it was foolish of you, Derek, foolish to go over 76.5.
Hey,
foolish,
man, I hear you, but I had confidence in my man.
Yeah. I got a question, and I'm not trying to.
You're full of questions today. By the way, I'm going to, today, so I'm going to do something unique. I'm going to use a little, and hopefully if I say this enough, we'll get sponsorship one of these days. Little Chomps beef stick. I'm going to use that today for the hot sauce.
Wow.
So I'm going to dab a little bit and going to use it like a paintbrush.
There's
Anyway, your question, Steven.
There's got to be a beef stick record, right? Like a world record, an eating record for that?
Dude, I mean, like we were going through it the other day of how many world records Chestnut has, along with Kobayashi. You've seen the video of him eating like 10 pounds of cow brain, right?
Yes. Yes.
Insane. Absolutely insane.
There's a bunch. I used to do my top 10 Joey Chestnut world records on the 5 a.m. show. I think people really enjoyed that. So,
well, hold on real quick. Did you see also? So what's more impressive? Joey Chestnut eating 70.5 hot dogs in 10 minutes, or Eric Badlands Booker downing a whole gallon, I think, of lemonade
Yeah.
He does this every year, but like it's pretty impressive what he does. Going to eat with Badlands, compete with Badlands.
I'd say the hot dogs are more impressive.
That's a lot of sugar, though.
That's a ton of sugar.
Yeah.
And it makes sense. Like, he's a big dude.
He's a big dude. Joey Chestnut, not that obese. I mean, Kobayashi, kind of built. Badlands, Booker. I hope he's doing okay, health-wise.
So I got a question, though.
Okay.
And I guess I'm kind of disparaging it in a way. But at what point do we get tired of just watching Joey Chestnut win all the time? Because wasn't the whole draw was that he would beat his record? Like, we're going to watch Kobayashi beat his own world record. We're going to see Joey Chestnut beat his own world record. And with how many he ate last year, I think the 2023, it was like 62 and a half, 63. This year was 70 and a half. I don't know if he's coming close to the 76 and a half that he set back or 76 that he set back in 2021. Like, at what point do we just come to terms with the idea that Chestnut's not going to ever break his record and he's just going to win in a landslide without a record broken? Like, at what point do we come to terms with that and just get kind of bored with the idea of this happening?
Are you saying this because you're bored yourself?
A little bit. Like, even last year's was extremely boring because he wasn't there. And this year it's like, okay, well, we get to watch this dude munch down some hot dogs. Maybe he can beat his 76 record. And now it doesn't look like he's going to come close to that. And I don't know if he can moving forward. I just don't know if he's in his prime anymore.
He's not, but he still dominates. So exactly, I'm hoping that
competition more fun.
It definitely is. That's why, like, whatever happened to Matt Megatoad Stoney, fellow eater from San Jose that beat him 10 years ago? It was like 62-60.
He just does a thing on YouTube now. Probably found it's more lucrative to just do YouTube eating challenges. How do you pronounce it? Mukbang? Is that what it is?
You're asking me?
Mukbang or mukbang or whatever it's called, where they eat large quantities of food.
And he does that for social media now on YouTube?
He has been. I don't know where he's at now, but he used to do all these challenges.
Yeah, he's always been on YouTube. I don't know. We just need somebody to like how Joey Chestnut became that guy to Kobayashi. Yeah, we need to find some person to take down Joey Chestnut. There needs to be the next best rivalry. In time, I think there will be, because I think his skills will diminish. Eventually, his cholesterol and metabolism will catch up with him, I'm assuming. But he's like, what, 41 right now? And he says he's going to do this till the wheels fall off. So I guess that means when he dies. So I hope it happens. But it's not really about that. It really is about him being the star for 1 hour a day on 4th of July, where George Shea and Richard Shea, they have their amazing intros for him and the comedic commentary during the broadcast. He basically is Caitlin Clark. And Caitlin Clark is better in her profession. Don't get me wrong. But WNBA is basically built around her right now, where there are supporting stars. Joey Chestnut, it's different, but also Joey Chestnut is the main appeal. That's what people go to see. I think that's kind of the case right now with Caitlin Clark. There's other people in the WNBA that people go to see, but really Caitlin Clark is the main attraction.
I guess if you're talking in terms of draw, yeah, but Clark is whether it's right or wrong, very much not respected by her peers the same way that Joey Chestnut is by the Major League eating community. She was voted like the 9th, like going into the All-Star break or the All-Star roster selections. She was voted like the 9th best guard in the league.
That's ridiculous. I'm sorry.
It's a little ridiculous, but it's too much. But it adds to the point. Yeah, she doesn't get the respect she probably deserves that Joey Chestnut gets from everyone else.
Yeah, I got hot sauce on the beef stick. This is a spicy combination. Yeah, so Steven,
this is gross.
Sorry for the chewing. Beef sticks. Got to chew it. Yeah, I'm with you. Not a lot of competition, but
this is gross.
It's just fun to watch for an hour every 4th of July.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I guess.
All right.
I just like how Jeremy Schaap has to do it.
Jeremy Schaap. Yeah, dude, I asked Dave Fleming on Friday, and I preface it by saying, Dave, I know you're a vegan, but if ESPN ever asked you to do the Nathan's hot dog eating contest on July 4th, would you be down to do it? And he goes, no, absolutely not. I wouldn't. You know, Derek, when you get older in life, you just learn to say no to things. And that's one thing I would say no to every single time. No. And I'm like, is it because you're a vegan? He goes, no. And even if I was a vegan, I'm just grossed out by that thing altogether. I'd probably vomit while I was broadcasting. No, I say no to that 100%.
Mm-hmm. Jeremy Schaap does not.
No, for like how like it's hilarious though. Like Jeremy Schaap does like serious stories for Outside the Lines, and it's like, all right, let's go to Joey Chestnut and see how many hot dogs he can eat in 10 minutes. I'm Jeremy Schaap, ESPN.
But but he makes it serious though. The opening,
yes and no, they're laughing while they're doing it.
Well, sure, but the opening monologue at least. What does it say when you have a champion that's unstoppable? What does it say when the athlete is unbeatable? The hot dog eating contest has been Joey Chestnut's for a decade. You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, but Richard Shea does the same thing, or George Shea, where he does his intro for him every year, and it's like he's being comical, but at the same time, like he thinks this is poetry.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. More God than man.
Yeah,
he always uses gods. He always has to bring God into it.
Yeah, because he's a god in this arena. But
doesn't sound like you're suffering too much from the beef stick. It sounded like that was just a nice little condiment.
Yeah, I got to be honest. It really didn't. I thought it was gonna be a lot spicier with the combination of the beef stick and the hot sauce, but I guess it kind of coated it a little bit.
I told you. I got to tell you, dude. We gotta get you a different punishment where you're actually punished.
Yeah, you know what? That's okay. I'm warming up to this. Pun intended. If the chat wants to come up with a different idea this upcoming football season of how we do punishments, I'm down to do it. Because, yeah, I definitely have, like Joey Chestnut, not having any competition when it comes to the hot dog eating contest. I smoke Steven when it comes to doing this hot sauce. It gets him really badly. To me, I'm impervious to it.
Sometimes it gets you, but you also don't really react. You kind of just do your thing.
Because I'm a man.
You know? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, here's from AJ Cruz. This was a thing on Dirty Work. Derek has to watch Wicked and sing the songs. Yeah, that probably would be punishment.
It's not that bad. They're fun songs.
I know,
Dancing
Steven, but
through life, swinging and swerving.
Mm-hmm. The thing was, we had to see Wicked back to back screenings of the same movie. I can't do that. Like that, I would just lose. I would just like how long the movie is. I probably would lose my mind.
That would be a lot.
I think so. Now, I'd be down to do a double bill of the first one and the second one. I can do that because it's different.
Yeah. I'm a musical guy, so the soundtrack's fire.
Okay.
It is. All right. Defying Gravity is sick. Ernie, we tried the mayo coffee, remember?
I did it.
That. It didn't work.
I mean, Define worked. Like I definitely had diarrhea the next day. Mine
was fine. It just tasted like coffee.
Yeah, because I got a mocha frappuccino from like this local. I don't know how to buy coffee, so I got like a weird order and put mayonnaise in it.
Mayo gets too much disrespect. It's literally just egg and olive oil mixed together.
Yeah, I mean, this might sound very Caucasian of us, but we like mayo.
Yeah, well, that's just a stigma, Derek. That is a wrong take. People who just say, "Oh, white people like mayo." Like, yeah, of course, but everyone should like mayo. Mayo is great.
Okay. Some people don't, man. Some people can't, afford to hike on the treadmill.
Derek, it's not that they don't like mayo. They don't like the idea of mayo. They just don't like the name.
It is kind of, it's not the name. That. It's not the name, Stephen. It's the substance. It's white. It's kind of gross. You leave it out in the sun. It's disgusting.
Yes. Yeah.
That's like when people like say the word moist, people get weirded out by that. Same thing with mayonnaise.
Yeah. Yeah. AJ Crute mayo fucking sucks. Hey, what happened to just your positive opinions, man? How about you go back to that account, AJ? Huh?
Yeah. That may not be him, Stephen.
Is it really not? Is it not? Because it might not be. I don't know. He does go back and forth, so it might not be AJ. It might not be.
Yeah.
But
I may.
you're the only guy I could think of. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's tacky.
Could be tacky. No, I've been I've been doing some investigations, and I believe that AJ Cruz is not just your positive opinions, man. But I won't reveal who is.
Oh, so you know.
I might know. I might know.
This feels unfair.
Sorry. Let's talk a little sports, Steven.
Hmm.
Let's start with the latest on the Warriors.
Uh-huh.
So a lot of players that are linked to the Warriors right now. There's Damian Lillard, who last time since we did a podcast got waived by the Milwaukee Bucks. Everyone basically says that Al Horford's going to the Warriors, but still nothing. But let's start with Anthony Slater. He wrote the latest on Jonathan Kuminga. And basically, he says that the Warriors want a promising young player plus first-round picks for Kuminga. And there's been a lot of teams that have been linked to Jonathan Kuminga: the Wizards, the Heat, the Bulls, the Bucks, the Nets, and the Sacramento Kings. And according to a lot of Kings writers and Anthony Slater, the Kings offered Devin Carter, who I'm not familiar with, Dario Saric, who may not even play in the NBA. He may go to, was it Greece, I believe?
Mm-hmm.
He's thinking about going to the NBA, or not the NBA, but overseas to play basketball there. And in 2 second-round picks. And the Warriors balked at that offer. And a lot of Kings writers are saying that Scott Perry doesn't want to get bullied into trading Malik Monk and Keegan Murray, who the Warriors would prefer. So what do you think of this whole thing right now with potentially Jonathan Kuminga going to the Kings and the rivalry, in quotations, that the Warriors and Kings have, and the offer that the Kings gave in the first place?
I get why they didn't accept that offer, but I think they have to be looking a little more forward than just, let's trade for a younger player and a first-round pick. I think it depends on the team. It depends on the first-round selection. Like, if you're going after the Kings, I don't know if the Kings are going to be very good next year. Would they really give a first-round pick if it's going to be a lottery selection? What if it is? What if it is? Like, I don't think they'd be willing to give that up. I get where the Warriors are coming from. I've never understood, besides the idea of getting that player off the team, I don't know why teams don't get a little more greedy when it comes to their trade requests. I don't get it. Like, hey, if they want to get a first-round pick and a younger player, fine. Not a lot of teams are going to go with that. That tells me that look, the Warriors aren't dumb. Like, you guys are smarter than we are when it comes to this front office stuff. They probably know that not a lot of teams would be willing to give that sort of capital up. So they are willing to make amends. And I really think I don't want to get too forward, but I kind of am getting forward here. I think what it's going to come down to is the later piece of that Slater article, where he kind of goes through the trade scenarios. So it's like, okay, you got the Bulls, the Nets, the Bucks, the Heat, all of them have interest. But I think really what it's going to come down to is the end of that article, where he said that they can make amends and it's very much in the works that a compromise is possible. They've already extended the qualifying offer. And I think it really is going to come down to Mike Dunleavy, Steve Kerr meeting in Las Vegas, which was very detailed by Slater. Very random. Yeah. Hey, they're going to meet in Las Vegas. They're going to meet him
during Summer League.
During Summer League. And they're basically going to say, hey, dude, you're out of options. Guys don't want to get you for what we want. You're going to stay on this team, and you can try and test the market next year and see what it is. But 25 to 30 million, you're probably not going to be making that, man.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And as far as the Kings, this offer sucks. I'm sorry, but like, this offer is shitty. Like,
yeah, it is.
This is laughable. Like, I go back to years ago. Remember, we had like the Godfather offer from the Jets to the Niners over Deebo Samuel.
Yeah,
this is worse than that. Like, I don't even know who was Devin Carter and Dario Saric and 2 second-round picks. I'm sorry, but Malik Monk and Keegan Murray for Jonathan Kuminga, yeah, I think that's appropriate. But if the Kings don't want to do that, then that's totally fine. But on paper, you could debate if Buddy Hield's a starting two guard or Malik Monk is. But with Malik Monk, I think this team's better. Yeah, I would definitely take that deal. But yeah, I'm with you. I think that nobody's going to pay Jonathan Kuminga what he's looking for. He's looking for $25 million or $30 million. And it sounds like all these teams are interested, but not at that price. At the end of the day, the Warriors can just match whatever qualifying offer that all these teams have. So right now, they put the tender on for 7.9. I'm sure the most teams are willing to go for is 10, and I think the Warriors can match that. So all these teams that I just mentioned, the Wizards, Heat, Bull, Bucks, and Nets, and Kings, the Warriors are probably going to match that. So, yeah, I'd say that we're not going to have any resolution until this week when Kuminga meets with other teams, plus the Warriors. And I think the reason why Anthony Slater has all these details is because he's talked to Joe Lacob, and Lacob doesn't want him to go. Now, I think Steve could go either way, but I think they have to have a meeting where it can't be awkward this year. And, maybe it could be. It still could be the same thing. Like, that would be annoying to me and the media. But as far as everybody on the team, I think they want some resolution as well. But if it's just another season where Jonathan Kuminga could be a sixth man, or there's some nights where he could start, then I think they're fine with that. I think they like what he brings, but they don't want all the bullshit at the same time. So I think they're going to sit down and talk. I think Steve Kerr and Jonathan Kuminga need to talk man to man and be like, this is what I envision for you this season. If you're willing to do that, then let's do it. If you don't want to do it, then maybe we come to terms with the fact that you shouldn't be here anymore. I wouldn't put it out of the realm of possibility that this is just too far gone, where Jonathan Kuminga is like, I can't do this anymore. And Steve Kerr's at the same time like, I can't do this anymore either. But I also wouldn't be surprised, as Jake Fisher's been reporting, I guess, that he thinks it's pretty much 65-35, the percentage that Jonathan Kuminga is going to come back. So I would agree with that too. But he needs to be comfortable and understanding of what his role is going to be. And I think it's going to be the same. I think that he's going to be a guy that they rely on, but he's going to be a sixth man. And there's no shame in that. You can get a big time contract being that guy. Yeah. So yeah, I think it's trending in that direction.
I do. And I mean, the only team mentioned in the article that would make sense where he would be like the centerpiece, the guy that the offense runs through, the guy that everyone focuses on the defensive side. Maybe it's the Wizards, because the Wizards just don't have a lot of talent right now. And the Wizards trade was gaining momentum. Obviously, the Warriors made that one with Jordan Poole, Brian Rollins, and Patrick Baldwin Jr. a while ago to basically acquire Chris Paul. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens too, but I'm just like, what young, promising player can they get in return? Like, if a trade does go down this year from what these offers are, like I'm seeing Clutch Points, right? Which has become a pretty credible source for NBA stuff.
Brett Siegel?
And not Brett Siegel with this one, but another one. Saying the trade for the Heat would be 2026 first round pick, Kyle Anderson, Haywood Highsmith, and then like a 2028 second round pick or something like that, which just, again, you look at that, okay, fine, you'd complete the trade, but does that really leave you feeling like you weren't fleeced if you're a Warriors fan? No. Like, I would not feel good about that. It's just hard looking at any of these other teams and what they could conjure up in a package where you could feel solid about Jonathan Kuminga parting ways. Like, I'm telling you, they missed the boat. They missed the boat already. It's partly the Warriors' fault. They should have traded him when they had the chance before he was eligible for an extension. Then you wouldn't have run into the whole mess of the Kuminga talking shit about Steve Kerr when he basically tried to force his way out of the Warriors when he said all that, had his agent say all that stuff to Shams.
Yeah.
Like, I think they really did. They were too late on this, and they could have avoided this situation had they just, bit the bullet and moved on. Like, yeah. I always look back at, I'm going to keep looking back at that Obi Toppin one. That Obi Toppin trade where the Knicks traded him to the Pacers, basically gave him a 1-year prove-it deal with Indiana, and he did prove it, and he ended up getting paid 4 years, $58 million, and was in the NBA Finals the following year with a pretty big role, I might add. I think they really did miss the boat.
I agree with you on that one. Do you think that they could have more compensation, I guess more value for Jonathan Kuminga now or during the trade deadline? It all depends.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Like if he gets hurt again, then you're screwed. That's what happened a year ago. Or not a year ago, but February during the trade deadline.
I think during the deadline, just because that's when injuries can happen.
Yeah.
More teams will realize they have needs for the postseason. It's like, oh, now we're willing to give up a little more draft capital if we're going to try and acquire this player. So it might be in their best interest to do that. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if they just signed him to a contract, one that's tradable. Like, and just we're up front and said, Kuminga, look, when they meet in Vegas, if they do this week, just, hey, dude, we know what you want. We're not going to be able to provide that for you, but we promise we can sign you to this deal. It would be a very tradable contract, and you would have your chance somewhere else to get something even bigger. We'll give you a 2-year deal, a 1-and-1, just a 1 year with a 1-year player option. And then if you feel after you get traded from February on until the, till the postseason, if you feel, God, my hat looks stupid. I don't know why I have it up there. If you feel that you can just decline that option and test free agency, do it, or accept it and then enter unrestricted free agency once again and have another year to prove yourself. I think that would be what they could do. And if you give him a 2-year, I don't know, $22 million a year deal or something, that's a very tradable contract, I think.
Yes, but I also don't want to. Yeah, there's pros and cons of that, where if you sign him to a 2-year deal, you could definitely trade that deal away. At the same time, if it becomes too demonstrative with him around and there's just too much noise, then I would rather just him leave in free agency at that point. So I think at the end of the day, he's going to come back. I just want it to be like, if this is Steve Kerr's last season with the Warriors, can we just have not as much noise and just focus on basketball, where he has to deal with all this bullshit? And I realize, as Tom said, that's what he gets paid to do. But I don't want this anymore. Like, I just got done reading Kevon Looney's article in the Players Tribune. It is beautiful. Like, I know last podcast, I know you're not with me on this, but this guy, I mean, come on. Like, I know that on the court, he wasn't the best player in the world and he had moments, but like what he stood for, I'm definitely thinking more that he should have his jersey retired for just what he means to this dynastic run. It wasn't really about like his play, but like his mentorship and his unselfishness. Like in this article, he talks about how everything was really just easy his first season as a rookie. They only lost 9 games. And then there was the game against OKC, the bang, bang game, where it's been reported by Lisa Salters that Draymond Green and Steve Kerr had a shouting match at halftime. And that's the first time where Kevon Looney was like, damn, okay, now this family has some flaws. And now I can truly be myself because I know that things aren't perfect here. And he learned from Steph Curry and Draymond Green. And he said that, the biggest thing I took away from this article was that him talking about he earned everything, how nothing was given to him, how there was guys that took his spot, whether it was DeMarcus Cousins or Zaza Pachulia, bigger names came in, and Kevon Looney had to prove himself. And, the fact that he was playing with Hall of Famers and Steph Curry and Draymond Green and Klay Thompson and Kevin Durant, he had to prove himself, and that's going to go a long way with those guys to be like, okay, this guy's going to put the work in every single day. And he was honest in the article saying, yes, there was times where it was really hard and I was mad about the DMPs or my spot being taken, but it was just part of the grind. And the times where I had to go to Santa Cruz to prove myself all over again, it made my relationship that much better with Steve Kerr, where I showed him how much I was willing to grind. And in the end, he appreciated me doing that. I read all this to say, I read all of it, and I'm saying it now to say that John the Kuminga has none of these attributes. And I know it's a bad comparison, really, because Kevon Looney's a different type of player, and he's been in our hearts for 10 years, battling with a chest injury during the 2019 NBA Finals. While John the Kuminga doesn't want to prove himself to Steph Curry or Draymond Green. I'm sure that they don't respect that. All I'm saying is, I love Kevon Looney, and I want John the Kuminga to be more like him, but it doesn't seem like that's going to happen.
I think Monty Poole brought up an interesting point, and I don't think we're ever going to agree on the whole Looney Kuminga, or excuse me, the Looney retired jersey thing. I think that's just too much. I think it's too much. I'm sorry, I do.
Okay.
But Monty Poole brought up some earlier comments from Eric Paschall back in the day, which is pretty interesting. He went on a podcast and basically said it was hard playing with Steph, especially after that year where everyone was hurt. It was like Eric Paschall was just kind of doing whatever he wanted, taking mid-range jumpers or whatever. But he said, y'all can look at me as a mini Draymond, but I like to score. Mentally, at that point, I couldn't do it. I'm going in there thinking, all right, I got my chance. So I'm just hooping. Steph and them came back, and Dre was hurt early in the season, but I couldn't play with Steph early in the season. I'm still going to do me. Y'all saw what I did last year. That's what I'm thinking, but I can't do that because I'm on the floor with Steph all the time. I ended up asking him to come off the bench. I was not wired to set a screen, pass up an open shot. Like if I'm open, I'm shooting it. It gave me a false reality of how the NBA works. So we know what happened with Paschall now.
Yeah.
He's out of the league. Bigger dude.
Same thing with Patrick McCaw.
Great taste in music, by the way. Eric Paschall, big hip hop head. I remember Marcus Thompson writing an article on that. But that's kind of it. That's what it feels like right now with Kuminga. It feels like that's his mindset.
Speaking of Marcus Thompson, he's with me on the whole jersey retirement thing.
Fine.
Mark Spears, too.
Of course they are. They love their guys.
I know.
They're close with Looney. They have like a relationship with them. They're friends. I'm not trying to. I'm basically am diminishing what he did, I guess. But I told you from the last podcast, man. They need to have another way to get these guys like retired numbers. Look at the A's, okay? Like think about the A's, right? They got Raleigh Fingers
hard to this weekend.
Raleigh Fingers, Dave Stewart, Dennis Eckersley, Ricky Henderson. And I forgot who else do they have?
Catfish Hunter.
Catfish Hunter is one of them. Reggie, did I say Reggie Jackson?
Ricky,
and that's it. Okay, like you don't see Terry Steinbach up there. You don't see Bert Campaneris. You don't see
Dave Henderson.
Like all those guys, man. I just think jersey retirements need to be a little more sacred than just, hey, this guy was a pillar of professionalism. Like would they have won those championships in the late 2010s without Kevon Looney? Probably. Okay.
No, I'm with you. I think though it's just kind of more symbolic.
I get it.
And this organization does have a rich history where I think they're going to go overboard on the dynastic run when it comes to the guys that the fans loved.
Right. Yeah, probably because they don't have anything. They don't have anything else. So
exactly. If there was a Warriors Hall of Fame, easy, put him in there. You don't need to retire his jersey. Just put a plaque up or whatever. Because they don't have that. Yeah, I'd say retiring the jersey is the best honor. But maybe it is too much. But maybe they need to change that.
But even the Iguodala thing, I'm like, I don't know if they need to retire his jersey.
I know, but it does make sense for how much of a fixture he was in the organization. The fact that he came back, all 4 championships are with him. But back to Kevon Looney's thing real quick. You don't see a lot of athletes do that. Like
totally.
Kevin Durant, I think it was just a simple goodbye post. Same thing with Klay Thompson, even though it was, heartfelt and the emotion got to him when he came back. Kevon Looney, he took the time to write a whole article about how much he loved being a Warrior. And really, this will stand out. Anybody that says to me that the players don't care about going from Oracle to Chase, read the part that he says about how Oracle was to him and how he's not going to diminish what the fans bring to Chase Center, but it's different. Kevon Looney's the man. And it sounds like the more and more I read his article that he didn't want to go. It was the Warriors telling him it's time. And it is time. At the same that's kind of that's the hard part about sports. I thought it was time to say goodbye to Klay Thompson. I thought it should have been sooner. It's time to say goodbye to Kevon Looney, but that doesn't mean that we can't say at the same time that we appreciate everything he did. Now it's just going to be hard to find someone to fill the void. And we keep hearing about Al Horford. I don't know when that's going to happen. It sounds like he's even mulling retirement. So, everybody from Bill Simmons to all these, NBA beat writers are saying that it's going to happen eventually with Al Horford signing with the Warriors. And I believe it right now. It's kind of like Aaron Rodgers signing with the Steelers where he could retire, but you don't know when this is going to become official. So we'll see what happens with that. I mean, do you feel any way about Al Horford at this point? I think that he would fit them, but I don't love the fact of having another 39-year-old, or not another 39-year-old, but another 35-plus player on the team.
I guess it's great for team morale, but I'm not really propelling the Warriors into NBA Finals. Hey, we're going to win the Western Conference with that signing.
Okay, now what about Damian Lillard? So since we did the last podcast, Damian Lillard was waived. He had his contract spread out the last 5 seasons, so he's going to make like 23 million a year, like a happy Bobby Bonilla day. And they were able to do that and sign Miles Turner, which is a big fucking move because I think we all thought that it was a foregone conclusion that he was going to sign with the Pacers and not with the rival Bucks. And that's got to make Giannis happy, even though like there's reports coming out that he's not happy that happened with Dame. And I'm like, please, like we all love Dame. The Bay Area loves Dame, but you would definitely take a healthy Miles Turner over a injured Damian Lillard. And that's where I'm at with the Warriors rumors. Mark Spears came out with, or not just Mark Spears, Sam Amick, multiple people have said that the Warriors are tied to Damian Lillard. And my reaction is, why now? How is he going to help them right now? I believe, like I just said, I love Damian Lillard. It'll be a great story for him to team up with Steph Curry and come back home. But what is he going to do this season? Just so that Rick Celebrini can help him out with his Achilles? And Mark Spears told me that he thinks he's going to be back by the All-Star break. I would be shocked if he's back by the All-Star break. He tore his Achilles in the first round of the postseason. I don't think this was the NFL, like Odell Beckham. Damian Lillard will be out for an entire season as a free agent. I think that's what should happen, but the NBA is crazy sometimes where Kyrie Irving just tore his ACL and they signed him to a 3-year deal. So I don't think Damian Lillard makes sense right now. I don't even know why we're talking about this because what value does he bring you to this season when there's so little time left for the Steph Curry era?
He doesn't bring any value to you this season.
No.
He doesn't. I like the idea. I like the idea of it because you could sign him to a 2-year deal and then lock him up for Steph's final year in a Warriors uniform. So
yeah, but he's that much older now. You don't know what kind of player he's going to be.
But you also don't know the contract. Like, I mean, he's making an extra 22 mil from the Bucks over the next 5 years. Maybe he'd take a hometown discount. Like, if you're keeping Lillard on this team for, I don't know, 20 million a year, would you really be that mad if he's just doing it for a year of recovery when you're staying under the apron and it's not really doing much harm to your roster because you're not going to add anything else? I wouldn't be mad at that. My only thing is, it all is predicated upon what happens with Kuminga. Like, you can't sign him if you sign Kuminga. So there's no point in even talking about it until we see a deal with Kuminga done. I think it would be in his best interest just to take a year off, work out on his own. Don't do all this traveling. Don't go around with the team. And then just sign wherever you want the next offseason.
I agree 100%. I think it does him no good to just get to know Rick Celebrini. It's kind of like a weird situation where Kevin Durant signed with the Nets and got to know the trainers, but then, didn't do anything for a year.
Yeah.
It's not, and Damian Lillard's, how old is he? 33? I don't know. And there's a lot of, like, the Warriors haven't made one single move this offseason. They're the only team in basketball to do that because they're waiting on Kuminga. So, yeah, I'm with you, Stephen. If you could sign Al Horford, down to do that at this point, even though I don't think it helps you that much. Damian Lillard gives you, I'm sorry, like, I'm not thinking about guys that help me in 2026, 2027. I'm thinking about this season. So, yeah, I think it does you no good to look for Damian Lillard. Mm-hmm. Moving on to some football, because we're 60 days away from the first Sunday of the NFL season, Stephen. Do you feel it? I know we're not there yet, but do you feel a little juices going when it comes to football?
A little juice. I got a little juice for it.
We got training camp at the end of the month, but we talked about the big Jalen Ramsey, Minka Fitzpatrick, Jonnu Smith trade that happened about a week ago, and a corresponding move for the Dolphins to fill the void tight end wise is to trade for Darren Waller. I guess the rap career didn't pan out. Darren Waller, if you remember a year ago, didn't tell the Giants what he was going to do, if he wanted to retire, keep playing. He ultimately retired, wanted to, pursue his rap career, had that weirdo music video where, a fake Kelsey Plum stabbed him in the back, even though he cheated on her after their marriage, and him, the big deal of him getting traded away from Las Vegas where she was playing for the Aces and he got traded to the Giants. Bottom line is he didn't like playing for the Giants. His final year with the Giants, he had 52 catches, 552 yards, and 1 touchdown. Not a great season. But the fact that the Dolphins were able to recoup draft picks, the Giants were able to recoup draft picks for Darren Waller, insane to me. So
Yeah.
in the end, Darren Waller gets traded to the Miami Dolphins for a conditional 2026 6th-round pick and a 2027 7th-round pick. And it sounds like he only wanted to play for Miami because who doesn't want to play for Miami? Not the team-wise, but just the environment. And also, Frank Smith is the Dolphins OC, and he was the Raiders tight end coach that Darren Waller knows very well. So, do I think much about this move? No. Like, honestly, I think that it's good that Darren Waller is back in the league. I root for him, even though I think he's so rapper. And I think that was a smart move on his part. But I'm happy that he's back in the league as long as he keeps his mind focused. And we all know about his demons of the past. As long as he's just committed to football, I think he could have a fairly good season. But do I think this is a big difference maker for the Dolphins? No.
I think the opposite.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. I think Darren Waller's got plenty left in the tank. He fell out of love with football. The weird stuff with the Raiders and the Giants. Just a lot going on in his personal life. I think off the field stuff impacted what was going on the field. And I think the guaranteed money is a plus. There's a reason why rappers always talk about athlete money. Like, he's guaranteed $5 million. That's not too bad. Probably more than he would make off of his music career. Ted Nguyen brought it up, from The Athletic. He brought up the idea that he was asked to lead block for an inside run for the Giants and basically called it a retirement after that. Then he stated that he'd be a great fit for the Dolphins because he won't have to do that since the Dolphins are boring and won't have to do inside runs. Yeah. I'm not going to say it's going to be a difference maker. That's a little far. I'm bullish on this move, man.
Okay.
I really am. I think he's got the, I'm going to use the Pete Carroll logic when talking about Geno Smith. He said Geno, he may be up there in age, but he didn't get his real chance at the NFL till he was 28, 29 or whatever. So he doesn't have as much wear and tear on his body. As we know with Waller, he didn't get his real shot at the NFL till he was 28, I think.
Yeah.
6 years ago, 20. No, not 28. Maybe a little younger than that. Maybe he was like 26, 27.
How old is he now?
I don't even know. I think he's like 30. I think he's my age. I think he's like 32. Yeah, he's 32. He was born in 1992. Going to turn 33.
So it was 6 years ago. I remember him making an impact with the Raiders. So yeah, he would have been 27.
2019 is when he had his breakout campaign. So I just think that he's still got something left, and I'm kind of bullish on it, man. I really am.
Okay.
I mean, unless he gets hurt, then obviously it's all going to go to shit.
I don't know. I mean, we've seen this before. Like, Marshawn Lynch came out of retirement to play for the Raiders. A lot of guys do this. They realize that, some guys retire early. That's why I think it's not crazy that Derek Carr comes back in a season. It's hard to say goodbye to the game, especially when you want to pursue a rap career and, you're okay at it. I mean, he's not bad. I've seen the freestyle where he's got the car parked in front of Allegiant. That's not bad. The song he did about Kelsey Plum, I was like, this is terrible.
Yeah, but music doesn't make you that much money. They like to make you think it gets them a lot of money, but dude, we need like a 30 for 30 version of Burn, that movie, that 30 for 30 on the athletes who went bankrupt. Yes. We need that on rappers,
dude. Well, there are some things I want to you watching behind the music about MC Hammer or rappers that lost their money. I highly recommend the Smartless interview with Jelly Roll. I'm not a Jelly Roll fan. Haven't listened to a lot of his music, even though I think he's incredibly talented. His story, incredible, about how he was, incarcerated for years with armed robberies and intent to sell. And he's just salt of the earth dude. Listening to him, this is a nice guy. And he was so loving towards all three guys. Doesn't even know them very well, but he seems like a really good dude and cares about people, goes to visits jails and tries to help people. And the best thing I've heard in a long time was him saying, they asked him, are you comfortable sharing your story about how you went to jail? And he was like, absolutely, I have to. I can't do a disservice to my victim. I was like, God damn, not many people talk like that. The way he talks about the music industry and how people are taken advantage of artists. He is incredibly smart. I've never seen a artist or heard an artist talk about how detailed the music business is, about how basically, executives will front you the money to make you to get the album going. You have to pay back the executives
Right.
once the album is done, and then you're able to pay them back through touring and music sales. But it's basically just like splitting your cost, being even Steven at the end of the day, which I never knew. And hearing him talk about it, I was like, God, this guy's incredibly intelligent. So yeah, I recommend anybody listen to that Jelly Roll interview. It was awesome.
Getting a lot of Darren's comps. Ernie 2 says Ben Maller is better than Darren Waller. You could do better than that, Ernie 2. It's not Ben Mauler. If it was Ben Mauler, then maybe it'd be good. Come on, man. You could do better than that.
Fox Sports late at night.
Big Ben Maller.
Yeah, dude, I can't tell you how many times I've drove home late hearing that, and this guy's ripping off Chris Townsend's, what was the thing we used to do back in the day?
Make the call?
Make the call, yeah.
If we ever bring Townie on, we should play a game of that. Darren Aronofsky, better than Darren Waller.
Good movies, weird movies. Good movies, though. Never saw The Whale.
Darren Waller, better than Phoebe Waller. You bite your tongue, AJ Cruz. Fleabag is a fantastic show.
I knew you were going to go that route. Should we do a little, this is something we did last year during the off season, and I felt like doing this because I wanted to get a little reflective. Should we do a little Raider reflection, Steven?
Sure.
Okay. So.
Whoa.
What's up?
So this is just surfacing. It's becoming official. This is weird. What the hell is, so I'm not even going to act like I could speak to this, but we just had the first 7-team trade in NBA history where.
So I heard this was going down
the
other day, but now we got the details. It's basically like all of the free agency moves and the draft moves, the sign and trades, all basically are related to Kevin Durant going to the Rockets.
This just proves how dumb NBA trades are.
Yep.
Like, this is not a good thing for the NBA.
No.
I think this is in part what turns people off, if people are turned off.
I would agree, because at the end of the day, you're not going to say Kevin Durant was part of the 7-team. No, like he was traded to the Phoenix. He was traded from the Phoenix Suns, Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks. That's the true trade. The rest of the stuff is convoluted and stupid.
Aprons
exactly.
are stupid.
Exactly. Okay, Raider reflections. So this was a thing we did a year ago during the offseason where you and I reminisce about, our days of Raider fandom and things that happened. I think a year ago we talked about Nnamdi Asomugha and his free agency, and forget other things we brought up, maybe the Carson Palmer trade. I always bring up the Khalil Mack trade. I know I talk about it ad nauseum because I don't understand it. I still don't to this day. I think it's ridiculous. But if you go back in time to 2018, what spawned this move, or spurred it, I guess, or whatever terminology you want to say when it comes to how it was initiated, was that Aaron Donald signed a 6-year, $135 million deal with 87 guaranteed. Now think about that for a second. Think about how little of money that is today. At the time, when you heard that Aaron Donald got 87 guaranteed, you were like, holy shit, that's insane. And once we saw that news, I think you and I want to say we were working at the station that same day, and we were like, Khalil Mack's not coming back. And I want to say, I think you and I were like hanging out that night. We were drinking in San Francisco. Then I woke up the next morning hungover as shit. Yeah. You texted me along with a bunch of other people being like, it happened, dude. Khalil Mack got traded. Yeah. It was, God, I think I listed the details. Yeah, 2 first-round picks, a 3rd-round pick, and a 6th. That's what Chicago gave up to get Khalil Mack. Chicago got a 2nd-round pick in return and a 5th. I still don't understand that move. You give a 2nd-round pick for trading away Khalil Mack? Stupid. In the end, when the Bears acquired him, they immediately signed him to a 6-year, $141 million deal that was 90 guaranteed, $23 million a year. $23 million a year. Think about that. Think about John Gruden that weekend saying, it's impossible, man, to pay the quarterback and the pass rusher $20 million a year. Now fast forward to today, where that is the norm, and most teams have to do this. Think about the Bengals. They signed Joe Burrow to a contract that's $55 million a year. They have T. Higgins, which is $28 million a year. Jamar Chase, $41 million a year. And now they're trying to sign Trey Hendrickson to a deal that may cost them about $35 million a year. Think about the Steelers right now trying to sign back TJ Watt. He's saying that he wants $41 million a year. And I know this is AAV stuff. It really is the guaranteed money, but just that phrase, that quote from John Gruden saying you can't pay the quarterback and the pass rusher $20 million a year. That's the norm now. That is what the NFL is. You have to pay your premier players close to $20 million a year. And 7 years ago, when this stuff was going down, I really didn't care for contracts. I really didn't know the details. When the news broke, I was like, cool. And then we moved on. I want to focus on the playing. Now it's just so part of the topics of the offseason. Like, the next big domino for this offseason will be guys reporting to training camp and, veterans that haven't signed yet, like Amari Cooper or Keenan Allen. But it really is the contracts. Football fans are so knowledgeable about contracts now. It's crazy. But just to compare the two of what Khalil Mack and Aaron Donald got, and you thought that was so, astronomical at the time where you had to trade away Khalil Mack to the Chicago Bears. Think about what guys are getting today. Think about what Micah Parsons going to get. So I say this just to say that John Gruden, it was a ridiculous statement to make. And I thought it was ridiculous. I think it still is ridiculous. You don't do that to a player that had no off-the-field issues, wasn't demonstrative in the locker room, won Defensive Player of the Year, All-Pro every single year, not to mention probably one of the best pass rushers I've ever seen. Maybe will go down as maybe Raider fans won't bring this up, but I think he's the best pass rusher I've ever seen when it comes to the Raiders. But I remember you and I dressing up in costumes for Halloween where you dressed up as John Gruden. I was Khalil Mack with a sword through my heart, and fans were like, yeah, dude, fuck Khalil Mack. No, not fuck Khalil Mack. The guy was just trying to make his money and make complete sense. So, yeah, you could tell I'm still angry about this move all these years later, but just in hindsight now, it's insane how the Raiders balked at giving this guy a contract when it's nowhere near the number that guys are getting today.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's other things too, like the rise of the salary cap, which was unprecedented in like 2022. And there's a reason you haven't seen Gruden address this on everything that he's done for Barstool. Out of all the content that he's done, reminiscing on the years, he's never brought up Khalil Mack because he knows that was the dumbest move he's ever made in his career. And I mean, looking back, I remember he was on this tour, this press tour, really, where he's trying to justify the move.
Obviously, Khalil Mack didn't want to play here. That's what's being missed here. He was under contract, Lisa. He was under contract. He never showed up for an OTA. He never showed up for training camp. And it was obvious he wasn't going to show up for the season. So, don't forget that. We have to get ready to play. And I want players that want to be here, that want to help us put this thing back in high gear.
That's just coach speak. That's just GM talk. Because basically he was the de facto GM. He told Reggie McKenzie what to do. Yeah, it will go down as the next to the emails. It's the worst decision in John Gruden's career. By far.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't think I hope he opens up about that one day, because he's had, Darren Waller on and play the music, man, when Darren Waller gets time. Yep. He's had guys on to talk about Antonio Brown. He's not afraid to talk about that. It's just, he hasn't talked about Mac yet, because I think he does feel there was this weird thing at the time too, where I didn't understand this. And it's the last time I've ever heard of it for a team not wanting to pay their player, is because they didn't have enough money in escrow.
Yeah.
Escrow, whatever. Escrow, when has like an official tax segment been brought up when it comes to the NFL? Never. No, well, we didn't have money. They're trying to justify it that way too. They didn't have money in escrow. You could figure out a way, and you could find the money to pay these guys. And my question, I guess, Derek, I got a lot of questions. Yeah. My question today, when does it end? Is it ever going to stop? Like, Micah Parsons is good. I don't like borderline great, but I don't think he's reset the market good. Like, all these guys were new talents like we've never seen before. Aaron Donald was just a different animal. We had never seen a short, stocky guy like that who was just as dominant as he was at D tackle. We had we'd seen guys like Khalil Mack before, but it was that time where you're starting to pay guys top of the market money. At what point does this stop? Does it ever stop? Because it is getting a little ridiculous now.
Of course it is, but that, as you said, it's a salary cap, and I think that quarterback numbers are just going to go up. Like this summer, we might see Lamar Jackson get a new deal just because they want to spread out the cap, and he might, exceed Dak Prescott and getting like $65 million a year. Yeah, I'm with you. I don't think Micah Parsons has ever put up numbers like Khalil Mack or Aaron Darnold, or not even the numbers, but it's like he's a good player, a great player even. But when you watched Aaron Donald and Khalil Mack, those guys you knew were going to be Hall of Famers. I believe, like, no doubt in my mind, Aaron Donald is. Yeah, I think Khalil Mack's a Hall of Famer. Just like on pure talent. Maybe not stat-wise. It may be a debate when his career's over. But, God, he was just so freaking talented. To your point about, like, Gruden and everything, he's covering for Mark. Like, yes, like my dad and Bonte talked about it every day leading up to him getting traded, about the escrow. And we had guys like Adam Kaplan on and Chris Mortensen come on. And they were all like, they can make it work, but the Raiders are just cash poor as an organization. That's why they had to go to Vegas. So in the grand scheme of things, like any other organization could have afforded to do this. The Raiders sadly could not. And that's John Gruden. He doesn't believe what he's saying. Like, he was so soft with Antonio Brown during that whole situation. He didn't want to cut him, but he had to. To say like, oh, well, Khalil Mack wasn't here. He didn't practice. Stop acting like a hard ass for him and then acting like Antonio Brown was just misunderstood. He's full of shit in that regard. So, yeah, I hope Gruden's honest one day about that, but maybe not, just to, save face. At the same time, what you're talking about with these pass rushers, yeah, just based on the fact that he plays for Dallas and he's a young player, Micah Parsons, we're probably looking at like $45 million a year, which is insane. And think about like CeeDee Lamb, what he makes, and what Dak Prescott makes. Think about TJ Watt. Is it a smart move to pay him $41 million a year when he's been injury prone and getting up there in age? Still gets a shit ton of forced fumbles. No, probably not the smartest move. But what else are you going to do? Same thing with Trey Hendrickson. He's going to be 31. You sign him to like a 3-year deal and make sure he plays till 34. Probably not the smartest move to do. Mm-hmm. But now with the salary cap the way it is, yeah, you could throw more money at guys, but it could bite you in the ass. That's what you're seeing right now with the Dolphins. They paid so much money to guys, and now they have to do like a semi-rebuild.
It's got to stop.
It won't stop. It will only get worse. I think there was a little bit of time where we went back to, not giving every quarterback an absorbent amount of money, but then it went right back to that. I think it's only going to get worse with the way the salary cap is and the money that the NFL makes. Speaking of money, Steven, you wanted to talk about more gambling in professional sports.
Yeah, did you not see this thing with Luis Ortiz?
I did. Of course I did.
Yeah. It's just funny that they singled out 2 very specific pitches. Because,
yes.
How are these guys not realizing there are people who pay attention to this stuff? And I think I don't want to laugh at whatever happens to him, but the clip itself, the highlight itself, and I hope we don't get flagged for this, like they got flagged for unusual betting activity if anyone didn't see the details here, the betting activity was wagering on the first pitch at the top of an inning, whether it would be a ball or a hit batsman. And a lot of bets were coming in on Luis Ortiz in the first inning, whether it would be a ball or a hit batsman. And a lot of bets were coming in that it would be a ball. The first pitch in the top of the third. There was one against the Mariners, which isn't that bad. But this one against the Cardinals, it's made even funnier by the broadcast going full major league.
Pedro Pajes leads off and takes one that is just a little bit outside.
Just a bit outside.
Pedro Pajes leads off and takes one that is just a little bit outside.
It's just some of these things, man. It's too funny when it comes to the betting stuff. Like, there's so much evidence out there. You're in the public. I don't get it.
Yeah, man. I mean, and the same thing from Malik Beasley, where people are looking back at like him, lofting up a shot with, no time remaining just for the sake of like his stats or throwing the game a little bit. Yeah, it's guys are trying to disguise it. It's only gonna get worse. I think it's only going to get worse. I think that when you have this stuff, I'm not anti-gambling in sports, but you can't be naive where professional players, like, they don't give a shit about what happened with Pete Rose. They're going to do this thing.
Yeah. Yeah. But also Pete Rose's was like, hey, we're throwing games.
Yeah.
Like, this is not down to the prop bet. This is one that's just so subtle, just so niche in terms of betting that we're going to do this. And it never pans out. God, the Malik Beasley ones are hilarious because there was one where I think the Timberwolves were, or the Bucks rather, because the betting goes back to when he was with the Bucks. But if there might have been one with the Timberwolves too, where they're down by 9, and I think the spread was 8.5, and he's the other team's there for a free throw. He rebounds it and goes coast to coast for a quick dunk before time runs out so that it could cover the spread. Like, dude, you're gambling right out in the open. People are going to take note of this. It was so funny. I'm and also, like, I don't know, Malik Beasley's had his issues, so it sucks that he can't get over that and probably won't play in the NBA for a long time. My guess is he won't play for again if they do find him guilty, obviously. Like,
oh yeah, he's done if this is true.
Yeah, this could get swept under the rug like the Rozier thing, and you could forget about it. But if this investigation finds that he was involved, yeah, he's done. And I don't know what the Luis Ortiz thing. Baseball's been pretty steadfast in, like, yeah, we're gonna ban Tucupita Morcano from the Padres for life, but that's also because he bet on 400 baseball games.
Jesus Christ!
So this one, the Ortiz thing, it's definitely not the last we'll hear. You wonder how much pitchers have actually gotten away with this. Though the Cardinals one, that one specifically that we just played, that got flagged. That was from the 27th. So it's not like basketball where they're going back to 2022 and the investigation is dating back to that. Yeah. Like, this one was literally 2 weeks ago. It's insane.
Yeah. And sorry, what's the pitcher's name again that's in question?
Luis Ortiz.
Yeah, Luis Ortiz. He was supposed to pitch on Thursday night. He was scratched because of this.
Gone.
God.
Gone. I hope the investigation comes back. I hope the investigation comes back to where they didn't find anything. But if Twitter investigators can find the evidence, which is right there, those 2 games in specific, then I think he might get caught.
Well, as we saw this past week, Twitter can have an impact on a guy going to a baseball game. Case in point, jackass of the week for me.
Oh, wow. What a transition.
Dave McCaskill. So did you see, Steven, that me and Copes had the pleasure of interviewing this guy?
Oh, you actually interviewed him.
We talked to him, and I debated this. We got a hold of his number because he just went on with Arizona Radio earlier that day. We talked to their producers. We obtained the number, and I was like, I want it to be clear to this guy, we're not going to go easy on him. Like, I don't want it to be like a gotcha situation where you agree to come on the show, and then it's like, yeah, by all means, man. Like, yeah, we'd love to talk to you. Fuck you, you piece of shit. I didn't want to do that. I let it be known, hey, we're going to be hard on you, and he was, go for it. At first, he canceled, and I was like, this is lame as hell. But it come to find out that he had his tickets taken away from him. So the guy in question, if you don't know the situation, last Monday night, it was Monday, right? With the Diamondbacks and the Giants. Yeah, we were doing the show. And he interfered with the ball. It was a Brett White, Christian Koss home run, Christian Koss home run that would have tied the game. And he looks like to me went over the ledge to get the ball. And he says he's a Diamondbacks fan, but that's not going in your team's favor. In the end, they ruled it that the Dave McCaskill interfered with the ball. He was thrown out of the game. It was ruled a double. Giants do nothing with it. They lose the game 4-2. And then John Boy and all these baseball accounts post a shit ton of other instances where he's done something like this. And then this guy has the balls to go on Arizona Radio, be like, oh, no, it's been more than that. I think it's like 9 times. MLB's investigating me 9 times. Haven't found anything. I've been thrown out of the games like 3 times, but no, the D-backs love me. Then fast forward, he agrees to come on the show with us, then finds out that he's been banned for the remainder of the season, or I guess just that night, and then it turned into the remainder of the season, wants to come on with me and Copes to gets sympathy, and we did not cut him any slack. Maybe we went a little too far with it, I thought, at times. But I thought that, yeah, this guy just doesn't get it. And I'm sorry, but like we said a long time ago on the show, we had this debate of Tim Webb said, if you interfere with a game, you should be banned for life. I don't think you should go that far. But if you've done it 9 different times, you can't trust this guy to be in a ballpark again. So, yeah, I would say I think it's appropriate that he was suspended for the rest of the season. And you know what? I would be okay with banning this guy from every ballpark in America for the rest of his life.
These people are showboats, man. They only care about themselves. They like to be that naive to go on to sports and think, oh, well, they're not going to do anything. Like, what? You're a season ticket holder. So what? You're changing the outcome of these games.
And he's athletic, Steven. He's a former baseball player that retired. He wanted people to know that. He's athletic.
It was a good catch. Give him credit.
Oh, yeah, okay.
You know, he was reaching over, you know, glove side snag. It's not too bad. It's not too bad.
Yeah.
You know, not a bad catch. But in that situation, stay away. Like, they're selfish. They're selfish. That's the problem.
Yeah. Do you have a jackass of the week?
My jackass of the week is whoever at ESPN tweeted out this little memoir, I guess. I don't know what you call it. This memory of Bobby Jenks, the White Sox closer who died of cancer.
Yeah. Yep.
On Friday, I believe. But this headline, it's just, if ESPN wants to get back in with baseball, and supposedly they've been in talks, they need someone who actually knows baseball. And the headline, Bobby Jenks, a 2-time All-Star pitcher for the Chicago White Sox, who was on the roster when the franchise won the 2005 World Series, died on Friday in Portugal, the team announced. Now, that may not seem too bad, but he wasn't just on the roster. He was a rookie who helped them win the World Series that year. It wasn't just he was on the roster. It's not like he was just some reliever who didn't get any pitching time. He was the closer, and he had 2 saves. He also came in when one of the games went 14 innings and went too strong and struck out 3 batters. Like, just saying he was on the roster, I'm sorry, you got to give him a little more love than that, because I think Bobby Jenks was beloved in Chicago. So that is just wrong to me, just to say you're on the roster. Whoever reposted that, I get my jackass of the week.
I think that's appropriate. I saw that over the weekend too. I'm going to admit, you know, I watched that World Series. Very fun World Series between the White Sox and Astros. Can't say I remember Bobby Jenks, but for true baseball fans, yeah, that's disrespectful. It is.
And he had a couple of saves to boot. I mean, he did blow one, but he had 2 out of the 4 wins. He ended up saving in those situations, and also coming in a 14-inning game. So I just think it's disrespectful, not just to Jenks, but also to the fans of the White Sox. I just think it's disingenuous when you post something like that. He was on the roster, quote unquote. No, he had a bigger part in that.
I would agree with that. All right, I know your father-in-law is coming to visit you guys today, Tony Cardoso. So we'll wrap up with a little pop culture catch-up. Steven, anything you've been watching, listening, reading even?
Nothing I've been reading. What did I watch recently? Oh, 28 Years Later. Saw that in theaters.
Have you seen the other 2?
Yes.
And does it stack up?
Oh, it stacks up. It was incredible. It was one of the more fun theater experiences I've had. It was just so, I was on my own. Jesse didn't want to go. She don't like those movies.
Yeah.
But it was just so, somehow they keep reinventing the zombie the zombie genre, and I thought the way that it was done, the ending, it's one of the all-time great endings, because the thing is, it's 28 years later, but it also it goes it's a trilogy. Like, the years part is a trilogy, so they're going to come out with 2 more. And you already knew that before the movie was going in. And I think a lot of people did. And you're wondering, okay, well, what's going to be the cliffhanger here? You kind of knew the story. You knew what happened. It reached its conclusion. All right, what's going to happen next? In the way that they have led into the next movie, I have never anticipated a sequel more, even though this is technically the 4th movie, but it's the sequel to 28 Years Later. So whatever, I'll count it as a sequel.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. That's high praise.
Oh,
so no Cillian Murphy though, right?
I don't buy it. I don't buy that it wasn't Cillian Murphy. They based a zombie off of Cillian Murphy in the first movie. There's no way that they didn't.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. He was the one you saw in the commercials. Like they featured him prominently in the commercials. I'm like, that is absolutely inspired by Cillian Murphy's character in the 28 Days Later.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Christian Bale Terminator, where it's not Arnold Schwarzenegger, but the robot at the end of the movie that runs around trying to kill Christian Bale looks like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Right. And so there's that. Haven't really what have I listened to lately? It's been a lot of older stuff, but Oasis finally had their reunion.
I heard on July 4th, right?
Yeah, their first concert after however long it's been. And one of my favorite stories from the Gallagher brothers lore where they hated each other.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it was Noel who swung a guitar at Liam's head because Liam threw a plum that nearly hit his face.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Ernie. Yes. And you had the final Black Sabbath show too.
Yeah. So little Tenacious D was involved with that.
Yes.
Yeah. Shout out Ozzy. I consider him the king of metal. Yeah. My little brother, big Oasis fan. He was watching that while we were, hanging out, had the A's and Giants in the background on Friday night during 4th of July. Yeah, I can't say I'm a huge Oasis fan, but I like a lot of their songs. He was debating about going to the Rose Bowl when they perform in September. And I was like, that's going to be expensive, but yeah. How long do you anticipate this tour going for? Because they've been notorious for breaking up and not fulfilling tours.
I think as long as they see the checks coming in the way that they are, they'll be just fine.
Probably is the case. Okay, real quick.
What was my favorite line from it? Hang on, sorry there, but there's
Go
one. Where's the line? I'm trying to find it. Where is it? Shit. No,
Okay.
I can't seem to find it.
Okay, when you find it, let me know.
Yeah.
What I wanted to do a pop culture catch up was give a little praise to Julie Bowen, because I read this over the weekend. So we're coming up on a couple of weeks away from Happy Gilmore 2 coming out, and Julie Bowen's going to be back to portray her role as Virginia Venet. Is that was her name? Venet or Venet? I think it's Venet.
Isn't it Bennett?
No, I'm reading it right here. Venet. Venit.
What's up with these weird double V's in there in the Billy Madison and Happy Gilmore movies? Veronica Vaughn and
Veronica Vaughn, yeah.
And Virginia Venet.
Well, she was the PR woman for the tour that Happy Gilmore was on. And she's in a recent interview with Variety talking about the upcoming movie, saying, I didn't think they'd bring me back at all. I mean, who am I supposed to be? He's got to have a younger woman in this one, right? Julie Bowen. Listen, I know you're a big Julie Bowen fan. I'm a big Julie Bowen fan. Julie Bowen is in her 50s. She's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And she's funny. This isn't a whole thing of like us having the hots for Julie Bowen. She's hilarious. Modern Family for all those years, not to mention Horrible Bosses. And she was just in another Adam Sandler movie a couple years ago, Hubie Halloween. She's funny. And that was a thing back in the day with comedies. If you had a sequel, like Austin Powers always changed the women and, take your pick. No, I think today we've learned, as we got an older and more mature and a better society, you can't just make a sequel and tell the women that were a part of it, sorry, you're too old now. I think there would have been a mutiny for true Happy Gilmore fans if Julie Bowen wasn't a part of this. And it also would be nice if she does the whole scene again where it's Happy Gilmore's happy place and she's wearing her lingerie with the beer. Regardless, we love Julie Bowen, and we're not going to get a younger woman just to replace her.
Nah, that wouldn't work.
No.
Yeah, it wouldn't work.
No.
AJ Cruz, nobody asked, but I binge watched Andor last weekend. Freaking amazing.
People love Andor.
Yeah, I've heard good things about that as far as the Star Wars canon goes. Oh, I'm watching Veep too. A lot of Veep.
Veep's a great show. I watched that, funny enough, during the pandemic, right before the election. And God, I don't know if I could watch it today because it's too on the nose. But yeah, no, it's probably one of the more smartest and wittier things I've ever seen in a comedy. sitcom.
It's great. It's great.
AJ Cruz says, I gave Derek a great idea for a segment. Let's see if he actually takes root. You'll have to remind me on that one, AJ Cruz. I'm sorry.
What's it called? Bowen?
Bonin or Bowen?
Whatever you were calling, whatever you were talking about.
Boning up on Bowen. love Julie Bowen.
32 is in the middle of watching Yellowstone. Ernie 1 is in Squid Game season 3. I'm also in the middle of The Bear 2.
Dude, just wrapped up the episode where did you see the episode? It's kind of reminiscent of the Christmas episode. It's like an hour and 10 minutes. You haven't got to that episode yet?
Nah.
Okay. I won't spoil anything. Let me just say that The Bear, some people don't like it because not a lot of action happens. I will say that show gets dialogue down of just how we interact as human beings.
Yeah.
Like it could be very simplistic, but I've never seen a show that just, it doesn't hit you over the head with exposition. It's just simple shit where you could catch on very easily about what's going on. And I will say that it does a better job than Ted Lasso, where it's you just care about the characters and it's just a show about let's be nicer to each other, but it's based in reality. Where I thought Ted Lasso was kind of cheesy and that's not how the world works. The Bear can show you the world could be a shitty, fucking terrible place, but at the end of the day, as long as you have love, it'll be nice.
Yeah. I'm going to steal kind of a line from John Dickinson when I forgot who he was talking about, but they are suffering from, I think, the burden of expectation. I think people expect one thing when they watch The Bear and then they get another and then they're disappointed by it and automatically call it a bad TV show. I don't really go into it with any expectations. I'm kind of like, what's the plot right now?
Right.
I just got done with I'm terrible at remembering characters' names nowadays. What's her name? The main character?
Sydney.
Yeah. I just got done with the episode where she was hanging out with like her niece or whoever.
Great episode.
It was a great episode. But a lot of people just hate it, man. I don't get it.
Because people can't relate because they want something with their shows, like they want action or like a steamy romance. The show's just about life, about how we treat each other, about human beings, the anxiety we have. No, I love it. Like initially, I remember talking to you and a lot of people when I first started the show like a year ago, being like, all right, what's the point of this? And like Sydney's annoying. Now I really appreciate her character. I appreciate everybody, honestly. Like on that show, there's not a character I don't like. And one of my favorite things about the show, it's gonna be very stupid and pointless. You know the character Computer, like the the uncle
with the Raiders hat.
Yeah, like that's never explained. He's like this financial advisor and gives all these stats about how the business and the restaurant could thrive. He's wearing a Raiders hat. They live in Chicago. It's never mentioned once. Why is he wearing a Raiders hat? But I just love the fact that it's there. It's just weird.
Yeah, I know. It's great.
It is great. Okay, real quick before we end things. Rest in peace to Michael Madsen. He played Mr. Blonde in Reservoir Dogs. He was Sonny Black in Donnie Brasco. Joe Gage in The Hateful Eight. He was also in Kill Bill with a minor role. Basically in Tarantino movies. And he had like a menacing presence. He was always like an old school badass. I can't remember any other movies he was in. I guess he was in Free Willy, but I don't remember that. Died at a young age of 67. I think like we're seeing a lot of actors that we grew up watching in gangster movies. Like a couple years ago, Ray Liotta passed away. I think we're seeing more and more of those guys unfortunately pass away. So that's unfortunate at a very young age at 67. So yeah, Mr. Blonde, I mean, that scene's iconic with him chopping off the ear while he's dancing to Steelers Wheel, Stuck in the Middle with You. Just an iconic movie, scene and character. So yeah, gone way too soon. Rest in peace to Michael Madsen.
Yeah, I recommend anyone go to YouTube and listen to his interview with Levitard. I think he did a couple of them, and he was always really good. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, a little while back.
Basically, obviously he's not the same guy he is on screen, but kind of more like intimidating, like kind of a badass.
A little bit. Troubled. Seemed very troubled.
Yeah. Kind of reminds me of, the actor Tom Sizemore who passed away too?
Yeah.
Very similar guys.
Mm-hmm.
All right, everybody. That's going to be it for today. And to AJ Cruz, he gave me a suggestion for an idea. Yes, he did. The idea is going back to listening to old albums or TV shows or movies that were popular that you missed for the first time. For me, it was The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. Yeah, I mean, AJ Cruz, we had lunch a couple weeks ago. He was telling me how he didn't listen to that album and went back recently and appreciated it. We do that every now and then with Pop Culture Catch Up. Like a year ago, I never saw Independence Day, but I gave my review on it. We could do that a little bit more when we do Pop Culture Catch Up. But anyway, as far as the rest of the week, I'm going off to Del Boca Vista to see my mom, the usual trip. I'm leaving on Wednesday. And unfortunately, this will be the last time I go to Florida to see my mom because she is moving. She's moving to Houston to live with my little brother for a little while. So that's going to go down in August. So yeah, going to Florida. You bet your ass I'll be doing the show with Bloody Mary and probably a nice stogie. But yeah, I'm leaving on Wednesday. So let's just say that if anything happens with John the Kuminga from now until Wednesday, we'll do a show. But with the way that it sounds and these meetings in Las Vegas, I highly doubt something happens. So we'll be back. The plan is on Sunday. So a week from today, while I'm in Del Boca Vista, me and Steven will do a show. I'll be from Florida. He'll be in the Bay Area. And we'll take it from there. Alrighty, guys. So thanks to everybody in the chat today. Thanks to Pat H, who just popped in. As Pat H says here, last time you get some nice STDs in the old folks home. Thank you, Pat H. Yeah, apparently it's a thing in Florida that it's rampant with STDs in the nursing home communities, which my mom doesn't live in, but yeah, it's a thing. I think, Steven, you there? Or maybe I'm
No,
frozen.
I'm there. What, I'm here. Am I here?
Yep, I got you now.
Ah, all right. Well, good thing we're leaving.
Yeah, STDs. Thanks to Rocket New Era. Thanks to AJ Cruz. Thanks to Ernie One. I believe that's it for today. All right, everybody. We will see you on Sunday with me live from Florida. If anything happens between that time, may pop on a little earlier. We'll let you know. But until then, Steven, say what you always say.
Sorry to all the treadmill lovers. It's just our opinion, man.